Hey, welcome back to another episode of the A-League Couch Critics. I'm Brad.
And I'm Sogg.
And today we're talking about the topic...
How do you solve a problem like the Mariners?
Yes, very good question.
How do you solve a problem like the Mariners? Because it's a rip-off of the song. How do you solve a problem like Maria?
All right. How do you solve a problem like the Mariners? This is what we're going to be trying to dissect over the next few minutes. I have a pretty quick idea. It's probably a quick, snappy kind of idea. I think when you change colours for a club, that would work pretty well. So if they change to like green and white...
I agree, yeah.
And then they change their name to Canberra City, and then they move down to Canberra. I think that would probably work the best for the Mariners. I mean, the Canberra City Greens or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, no. Let's... That might work. But let's try and look at some other scenarios where the Mariners stay on the Central Coast. Sogg, I'll hand it over to you for a first go at this. How do you solve a problem like the Mariners?
How do you solve a problem like
The Mariners. Yeah, look, I've got a bit of a soft spot for the Mariners. Everyone does, because they're that little weird kid in the corner of the room that everyone feels a bit sorry.
Hey guys, wanna see my secret freckle?
No. Look, my mum's a Mariners supporter, so...
So you're talking about your mother.
all the time, like, you know, I've always watched their games and things on the weekends. I think there's a couple of ways. I think there's two big kind of systematic ways that the Mariners could be fixed. And I think there's a couple of club-based things as well. So the two systematic things, I think... The first one is this Australian transfer system that James Johnston is trying to get going. I think that's really good because the Mariners are a great development club.
Yeah, they've given us players like Matthew Ryan and Tommy Rogic. And imagine if they had like sign-on clauses for those clubs. They're at Celtic and Brighton, respectively. You know, they could have got a fair bit of money from sell-on clauses and whatnot. But because of this interesting model we have where we don't have a transfer system, that literally the Mariners will develop all these great players. Any club, Wanderers, Sydney FC's developed plenty of juniors over the time. Wanderers, Melbourne Victory, they leave for nothing. Yeah,
and so I think it's good for the league as a whole, but I think for the Mariners particularly, and I mean, you just said Matty Ryan and Tom Rogic, but Mila Jedinak, Mustafa Amini, Danny De Silva, who went on loan to a European club and then came back, and then he went to Sydney FC and he's come back, and they could actually get a fee for him. Some of the kids they've got in the club at the moment, Alu Kual looks, exciting. Sammy Silvera, I'm really impressed by. He could fetch a fee for sure. And Trent Buhaja is the latest kind of big name player to leave on a free for Sydney FC, and now look at him. I think if they can actually get some transfer fees, it helps develop that club. It helps actually invest in their club, and I think that would be a big problem solver for the Mariners. But I think another systematic kind of way that you could help the Mariners is introduce a second division with a relegation.
I don't know if they would like the idea of potential relegation, but I think it potentially could be a blessing in disguise that there is, they can't be like, oh, well, we're not in contentions for finals for the last 10 weeks. Well, we might as well just give youngsters a go.
Yeah, that's it.
Which isn't the worst, but it actually means that every single match counts.
Yeah, look, you could just say, look, Mariners, stop being crap at football, which, is that's my real idea. Just stop being crap. But, if there's a punishment for mediocrity, those clubs on the bottom go... Well, we need to get this right. We need to get the signings right. We need to pick up our performances. If there's a punishment for the clubs who don't do this, then they actually have to get their act together. And if they're not interested in getting their act together, then we don't actually want them in. We're not interested. It makes the end of a season crap. When the Mariners playing for pride, it's not enough. I'm sorry. They've got to perform better. And so I think relegation actually helps the competition as a whole be more competitive. It puts pressure. It makes the season interesting at the end. But for a club like the Mariners, it will be the boot up the backside they need, I think. So they're bigger kind of system things that Mariners can't really control so much. It's more the FFA and the A-League. But I think there are some things in the club as well that they need to actually do better. One of these is interesting, that like the tactics, the coaches. Because their last 3 coaches haven't actually been bad,
they're not.
have they?
They're not like they're complete unknowns.
Stadge is a good manager.
Yeah, the midfielder.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was at the mid. Yeah.
Paul Ocon before him.
Yeah. You had Mike Mulvey.
Who won
Brisbane to a premiership, championship.
So you can't just say, oh, they got crap managers. That's not it, actually.
Yeah.
But in saying that, like, it's been interesting watching some of the decisions that Alan Stadge has made. People keep commenting, Milan Djuric sometimes is just sitting on the bench. Now, I don't know if that's a problem with him as a person or as a player. Is he not putting in the effort and being punished for it? But he is the best quality player they have. It's not quite enough. And you know, their loss to the Wanderers just a couple of nights ago. Their draw, sorry. It felt like a loss for the Mariners because they were 1-0 up. They worked really hard, played some really good football. And then they just, like, they took the players who were playing really well off the pitch. And it's no surprise then that Wanderers came back into the game. I think that was poor management. So I think as much as they're not being bad managers, you do have to hold them to account a little.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing too is this, they are playing kids, which we love, but you have to balance that. You can't just throw kids on a football pitch and expect them to win you anything. The old saying, you don't win anything with kids, which has been disproved a few times. But in the Mariners' case,
it's not working.
No. You have to support them and put them in, help them thrive by putting them in properly. Okay, so you can't just have a whole team of 11 youngsters. It doesn't quite work. And when they are doing good, you've got to support them, look after them. Like I said, they've had some young players who have done really well this year, but you have to find that right mix. And so I wonder what the transfer policy has been there. I think something that's really stood out about Sydney FC, and it's been kind of widely discussed, is this no dickheads policy that they've got.
Yeah.
The club is really intent on vetting players before they come in and making sure you've got players who are, their character is right. They're going to work for the club. They're going to work for their fans. I wonder if the Mariners have kind of gotten that wrong. Is there anyone sitting over the top of their process going, yes, let's get kids in, but let's get kids who have the right attitude, who are going to work hard, who are going to give their all for the club, who are going to clean the boots, the old school kind of wait their turn and show they deserve it. I wonder if that's an issue.
Well, yeah, it might come back to the managers they had when they were really successful with Laurie McKinnon and Graham Arnold. Maybe they installed a good culture at the club, and then who came after? It was Phil Moss that came after.
Yeah, Phil Moss.
Graham Arnold, and they did make the finals, but then it's just been a slippery slope ever since. So I wonder if it was something that when Graham Arnold left, that the culture changed, because you were talking about a no dickhead policy. Maybe that was something that was brought into Sydney FC because they had their woes before Graham Arnold.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Steve Corica has been here for 2 years, so whether they've still kept up with that policy or not, we'll find out in a couple of years or not. But yeah, I wonder if it's the culture that's been built up, and now that they've since Graham Arnold and Laurie McKinnon's moved on, I wonder.
Yeah.
Wonder if that's had an effect, and I think it probably would have had an effect because they were, they weren't the biggest club, but they just played really well for the first 5-6 years in the A-League. They might have had 1 or 2 off years, but they were fairly consistent.
And I think, look, this isn't all negative. I want there to be some positive in here, because there are some things that the Mariners do really well. So they're the community club, and I think their community aspect is great.
We talked about the development of juniors as well.
Yeah,
they came to somehow keep finding these great gems.
Yeah, that's it. It's a good footballing region. They're willing to put in the effort for the youngsters, and if they can actually build on some of those good things, get that community feel back, get the fans back on the side, work together with the supporters to actually make the club good. I think those things are things worth focusing on, because they're doing them well. How can they do them better to really raise the profile of the club? You know, they were the first club to actually, in our, you know, new KO situation with no pre-game show, the Mariners had been doing that already. Their own little pre-game show. They're a good club. They have got some good things in place, but things just seem to be going wrong consistently on the football pitch. And I think a couple of things that can really turn them around and help them perform a bit better.
Yep.
We'd love to hear your thoughts. You know, do you like the Mariners? Do you hate them? Do you think they should just, you know, go the way of the New Zealand Knights and say bye-bye?
How can you fix them? What's the grand solution?
Yeah,
or is it just a wave? Is it they'll get better? As they say about the salary cap, good teams go through bad years. Is this just a bad few years for them?
I like that pun. Is it a wave? The Mariners, they're just rolling on the wave.
Not intended. But there we go.
Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you're new here. Check out the old episodes. And thanks so much for leaving comments and likes on previous videos. We really appreciate it. Make sure to share it with your friends. You know, get a mate along and get him interested in the A-League by watching fans chat about it. But until next time, we've been the A-League Couch Critics. See you later.
Around. Like a rissole.